There are many girls around the world who are restricted from getting an education due to many reasons, including poverty, child marriage, terrorism, and sexual harassment. But with activists like Malala Yousafzai, things are starting to look better for these girls. This conflict can be solved if we, the people, rise up against these leaders who want their girls to be uneducated and weak. It's up to us to make a change that will impact half of the world's population. This problem, also known as sexism, is a worldwide conflict. This happens almost everywhere, even in countries where laws for sexism have been abolished, like the United States. There are many stereotypes that still happen in the US between girls and boys, and they are taught to believe in these stereotypes since youth.
Some of the girl kinds of instruments are like flute and clarinet and violin, and the boys seem to be drawn to trumpet and trombone.
But this has been going on for a rather long time. This would include women not being able to go to school, but only to learn how to take care of a family, do chores, and how to cook and clean while their brothers go off to school. Around the 1900s, girls slowly began to protest for their rights, as they were forbidden to work, vote, or even get educated. Many places have worked to bring equality between men and women, but sadly, it still happens in numerous parts of the world. These girls in the developing parts of the world find themselves being stripped away from basic education just to marry and raise children they are much too young to have. Some girls in Nepal are put to work as kamlaris or slaves so that their parents would have to spend less as they have one less mouth to feed. They believe that they are doing the best for their daughter by bonding them with the master in hopes that they are well fed and taken care of. This rarely happens. The girl's name is Suma, and she loves to sing as it got her through her days. I wanted my mother and father to take me back. I wanted them to let me stay at home and go to school like my brothers. But when I thought about how poor they were, how much they too had suffered, it made me feel weak. I couldn't ask. Many other girls are married off at a young age, like young Mina, who was forced to marry at 16 because a group of boys had been harassing her on her hour-long walk from her home to school. Mina, who comes from a Dalit family, or the caste that was known as the Untouchables, had wanted to become a teacher or work for the police. My parents are looking for a boy for me, Mina says. They say I can get married and then I can study. But I know that once I get married, it will become very difficult. My dream will never come true. Another woman named Kamalam Rajagopal had to stop going to school at the age of 16 because her father told her to stop. But she couldn't argue with her parents. Instead, she got married at the age of 19 while the groom was 31 and had a child at the age of 22. Even though her younger siblings got to finish their education, she couldn't finish as she was living in poverty. There are around 150 child marriages that happen every hour in the countries of Asia. Child marriage in India may be due to old customs and traditions. Marrying a girl off when she was still a virgin is considered to save the family's honor. Another reason that accounts for child marriage is poverty. Srinivas Goli, scholar and author of the report, says that India needs to realize that child marriage is not just a human rights or gender issue. It is a huge demographic, health, education, and economic issue. According to the article, India accounts for 85 million of 103 million child marriages. But child marriage is not just a serious problem in India, but in other parts of the world too. Niger, which is a country located in northwestern Africa, has 76% of children married before the age of 18. Child marriage is still a very serious problem in Pakistan that can be shown with statistics. In January of 2016, a proposal that was submitted to Parliament aimed to raise the minimum legal age of marriage to 18 for females and make marriage before that a punishable offense. On January 14, 2016, the proposal was withdrawn because the Council of Islamic Ideology, a council that reminds the Parliament of Islamic law, criticized the proposal as being anti-Islamic and blasphemous. Pakistan's Child Marriage Restraint Act, or the CMRA, currently sets the legal age of marriage to 16 for women and 18 for men.
People who marry young find their childhoods cut short and their education abandoned, as girls take on housework and boys struggle to provide for families they are too young to have. Married children become parents much too soon, and girls face serious health risks. Some health concerns include having a higher risk of being exposed to sexually transmitted diseases, HIV or AIDS, cervical cancer, obstetric fistula, and even death during childbirth. Girls who marry young have a higher risk of domestic violence than women who marry later in their life. Social and gender inequality, a desire to control women's sexuality and protect family honor, as well as poverty, are some of the factors driving child marriage in Pakistan, according to advocacy group Girls Not Brides. Child marriage is actually against the law in many places. Child marriage is a human rights violation that prevents girls from obtaining an education, enjoying optimal health, bonding with others their own age, maturing, and ultimately choosing their own life partners, according to the health consequences of child marriage in Africa. Yet, things are starting to get better for girls around the world, with people like Malala Yousafzai encouraging girls to stand up for their rights. Malala grew up in Swat Valley, Pakistan with her family. Her father, Ziauddin Yousafzai, played a major role in Malala's life. He owned a school, the Kushal School. This is the school Malala had attended for most of her life until she was shot by the Taliban. The Taliban are a group of terrorists who believe that women shouldn't get educated because those who do will go to hell. They forced women to be in purdah, at home doing chores, rather than going to school. One day, while she was coming back from school, the Taliban shot her during her ride home on the bus for speaking up, and soon she was in a hospital at Birmingham, England. Here, she was treated and finished her grade school education and started a new life with her family in the UK. Currently, she still advocates for girls' education, with her father mentor, while finishing her college education at Oxford University. She is also the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner ever. She has also won other awards such as the Mother Teresa Award, the United Nations Prize in the field of human rights, the Simone de Beauvoir Prize, and many more. This goes to show how Malala's work is being recognized and how many people care about the cause she is fighting for.
My mother grew up very different, where she had 4 brothers and they all went to private high school because my grandparents felt it was more important to educate boys and girls, whereas my mother and her sister went to the public high school. And I remember my mother telling stories that they took like typing classes, and my grandmother never really cared about their grades. But my mother was very clear with us early on that we were going to college.
Daughter who is very much into school, so therefore everything that I do is going to be to go and support her and her efforts in going through school. And I think a lot of that has to do with raising children, what they're exposed to at a young age, and how that can help them in later life. So absolutely, yes, I do support it, and I have a fondness in my heart for nerdy girls, because that's what I like.
All of this accounts for the compromise in this situation, which are all the activists in today's world, along with many organizations that help empower girls and raise money for the cause. Some include Malala Yousafzai, Girls Not Brides, Girl Rising, and a lot more. There are also many celebrities who use their fame to help get supporters for the cause, such as YouTuber Lily Singh.
Spread girl love!
And also Disney Channel star Rowan Blanchard. Yes, this is actually working, but there is still so much that can be done to solve this conflict of sexism. Girls in the developing parts of the world have it pretty hard, but there's light that's beginning to shine in their time of darkness. Let's hope that people like Malala Yousafzai and other girls' rights activists can demolish these gender stereotypes and inequalities between men and women forever.